So here's the really interesting thing. Not talking to people like me, for example, I've been a political commentator for 12 years. I was at one time Australia's only libertarian-leaning political commentator. I was a small fish in an even smaller pond. But politicians could get away with not talking to people like me because the mainstream media had blanket coverage and very few people were looking for anything else. That has completely changed. It's changed over the last decade, but it's changed massively in the last 2 years. To talk about the protest down here in Melbourne, you've got the Channel 7 feed that's got 2,000 people watching it, and you've got Real Rukshan. He's got minimum 70,000 people watching on the bigger days with the tradie protests. He had at least 70,000 and at times 150,000 people watching live. And then in the end, he'd end up with 2 million views on these videos.
Unbelievable.
Ignoring alternative media doesn't help them anymore. They used to be able to control the message by controlling who they spoke to, but those days are over, and they're being very slow to adapt. And I think that's gonna really bite them in the ass going forward.
But that's why they've got to keep up this narrative. Look, you look at 90% of the news on TV. There's nothing else going on. There's nothing else
that's
going
right.
on.
It's wall-to-wall coverage. And
I mean, Shane Warne hasn't done anything bad lately.
I find if I'm unfortunate enough to walk into somewhere where there's a TV playing and I can hear that, and they're giving the stats and they're giving the data and they're giving all the scaremongering and telling you to go and get vaccinated and there's lots of vaccination spots available and all this messaging, I feel my heart rate starting to climb. I feel the anxiety that they're generating. It's like there's just this flow of anxiety coming out of that TV screen directed at me and at every single person within earshot. And I tell you what, if you're still listening to mainstream media, please, for the sake of your sanity, for the sake of your blood pressure, please just turn it off. Right? You don't need that in your life.
There's a comedian in Sydney called Vince Sorrenti. He's a national figure. Vince Sorrenti did a brilliant piece. He wrote it. It's absolutely, if you can find it online, about what happens when all this is over.
Yeah.
Like, what happens when the 11 o'clock and all, they got nothing to report. What are they going to talk about? We're going to get back to Shane Warne? What are we going to go back to? Climate change and Greta screaming, Greta screaming, this little out of control brat, duped by her parents, screaming, "You've taken away my future."
See, I don't actually blame Greta. I feel sorry for Greta. I honestly feel like she's a victim of abuse.